Today we're going to talk about question stems that we would use for K-2 students. So it's broken down into kindergarten and first grade question stems, and later we'll talk about second grade question stems. So question stems are just to get the reader thinking about the story. So good readers, as they are reading, ask and answer questions throughout the text. And as you notice, in all of the grade levels, K through 5, we have a standard that asks and answer questions. So throughout your child's career here at Khanuk, they will be expected to ask and answer questions throughout the text. So the question stems are just little questions to help us understand what we're reading. So for example, in kindergarten, we might ask, what is in this book? Who are the characters? What do you know about them? Tell us something that happened in the book. And then we might ask a higher level thinking question like, how do you know? And then we also get into, in kindergarten and first grade, what happened at the beginning of the story, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end. And then what lesson did the character learn from this story? And then in first grade, we might talk about where does the book say that? So we might add in that question stem to get a little bit higher level thinking and critical thinking skills. So we talk about the character, we talk about the events that happened in the story. In kindergarten, you might also hear the author reference. What is an author? What is an illustrator? What does an author do? And is there evidence to support who is talking in this story? And we focus a lot on characters, setting, and then in first grade, we'll get into the problem and the solution. So some of these question stems will help us as readers to understand the differences between an illustration and a diagram, or an illustration and a chart later on in second grade. In first grade, we ask a lot of who, what, where, when, and why questions about the text. So this is a good opportunity for you to use those questions at home with your children and ask them those who, what, where, when, and why questions. And then also in kindergarten, they talk about the book, the pages, where things are located, and what can be learned from this text. So when we ask informational questions about a text that we're reading a nonfiction book, we might ask, what is the main topic of a text? Or what can be learned from this text? What is this book mostly about? And they would have to explain that and justify that with answers from the text. We also talk about photos versus illustrations. So you would ask, what does this illustration or photo show? What does this picture show? How does that help me understand the text? In first grade, they get into the problem. So you might ask, what does the writer think about this problem? How and where did the author support these reasons for this problem? What important points does the author make? These are some second grade question stems that we're going to get into. So in second grade, we focus on central message and fables. So we might ask, what is the moral of the story? What is the central message? And how do you know? We also talk about main idea and main characters and what is the message of this story. So we might ask, where is this detail found in the passage? Who is the main character? What is the character and what does he want? And we focus a lot on the characters and how they develop over the story and how they react to events. So you could ask them, where does this story take place? Which of these details is really important to the text? We also focus on retelling in sequential order, so you can ask them to retell the story from beginning, middle, and end. Who are the major and minor characters in the event? What effect does the events have on the characters and how they respond to different events? Explain how the character changes throughout the story from the beginning, the middle, and the end. And then explain how authors use details to convey the message of a story.